Last Man in Tower by Aravind Adiga explores the escalating rivalry between two men vying for control over the same flat in Mumbai. The novel follows the unraveling of neighborly ties as their obsession with securing the flat for personal reasons drives them to participate in increasingly unscrupulous schemes. At its core, the story examines how greed can push people to actions they never imagined. The novel opens with Dharmen Shah, a ruthless Mumbai developer and the story's antagonist. Shah is determined to buy a two-story building in the middle-class Vishram society, planning to demolish it and build a luxury high-rise, which he calls the Shanghai. Focused solely on profit, Shah will stop at nothing to achieve his vision, even to the detriment of his own health. He is relentless in his pursuit, believing that no one can stand in his way, until he meets Yogesh Murthy, known as Masterji, a retired school teacher who proves to be just as stubborn. Unlike the other residents, Masterji cannot be swayed by Shah's large cash offer of $330,000 per household. While most of his neighbors eagerly accept the sum, seeing it as a life-changing amount, Masterji holds firm, driven by the emotional value of his home, which ties him to the memories of his late wife and daughter. Other holdouts include Mrs. Pinto, a blind woman who has memorized the layout of the building and fears how she would adapt to a new environment, and Mrs. Rego, who distrusts developers due to her uncle's experience with a similar deal. Mr. Kudwa, concerned about appearances, hesitates as well, not wanting to seem greedy by accepting the money too quickly. As tensions rise, the novel illustrates how greed, fear, and nostalgia fuel the conflict, leading the residents to betray long-held relationships and question their values. He pretends to care about his neighbors, knowing that in the cooperative living setup, he needs everyone's agreement to move forward with his plans for the Shanghai. Without unanimous consent, Dharmen Shah's ambitious development project will remain stalled. Some residents, eager for their share of the payout, side with Shah, helping him persuade the more hesitant tenants. For many, the sum offered is life-changing, far more than the average $8,000 annual salary in India. These neighbors gently pressure the others, tempting them with promises of material goods and a better future for themselves and their families if they agree to the deal. Eventually, only Masterji and the Pinto family remain as holdouts. Masterji, determined to resist, seeks help from various institutions, the police, the media, and even his former students, in a bid to halt the development. But one by one, these institutions fail him, swayed by Shah's vast wealth and influence. As Shah's power becomes evident, Masterji finds himself increasingly isolated. His once supportive neighbors begin distancing themselves, turning against both him and the Pintos. They resort to coercive tactics, desperate to change their minds. When Mr. Pinto suffers a foot injury, the Pintos finally give in, agreeing to sell their home. Masterji is left as the last man standing, alone in his fight against not just Mr. Shah but also his neighbors, who now view him as the final obstacle. In a climactic moment, the residents vote to expel Masterji, believing this will solve their problem once and for all. However, Shah's deadline passes and no money arrives. Frustrated and desperate, the residents take matters into their own hands, violently attacking Masterji, rendering him unconscious before throwing his body off the building's roof. Months later, the deal goes through, and the residents have moved into their new luxurious homes, enjoying their wealth. Yet some remain haunted by the memory of Masterji, a man of principle who stood firm in his beliefs. Despite their material comforts, they are unable to find peace, burdened by the guilt of having killed a man whose integrity they once respected. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.